Okay, go ahead.
All right. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and will be broadcasted over the Lunenburg Access channel and uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed and at the meeting and those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. And with that, I'm going to take a roll call. Karen Menard.
Here.
Chris Sullivan.
Here.
And with us, it is also Angela Clement, and who is our Parks and Recreation Director, and Christopher Ruth, who is our Facilities Director. Missing tonight is Colleen Shapiro. She is unable to attend tonight. And with that, the meeting is open. First item on the agenda is the Boys and Girls Club. Are they coming, Chris Sullivan?
They are, she said.
They are? Okay.
I just messaged her.
Okay.
To say we're just starting the meeting. She had a few different things going on tonight, but she was going to bounce to us after the first thing and then on. So she knew I forwarded her the agenda yesterday.
Okay, no, that's great. We can start, if it's okay with everyone, we can start with Angela and Chris's report. And once Michelle jumps in, we can pause if that's okay with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Angela or Chris, who wants to start?
All you, Angela.
Yeah, sure. Hold on one second. I just had to re-upload everything on my computer. So can you hear me?
You can.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So we're doing the last program this week. Unfortunately, we had to cancel on Tuesday just due to the rain. So Anna's going to step in next Tuesday. It was a blast. So they had a lot of fun. In terms of beach passes and everything like that, I think we exceeded what I thought we were going to sell. So just in general, the way it tracks it with the scanner is either they can scan their cards or they can say their name at the desk and then they get checked in that way. And then MyRec will count everybody who's been scanned in for the day. Anna made a good point that it doesn't count with people who have day passes that they bought. So we had to do that separately. But just for the entire season, there was about 2,500 scans total and 490 people. So that's just people coming multiple times, but there's 490 people. And I think we sold about 520 passes. So most people who bought a pass have been to the beach, but there's definitely a few that have not.
So on that, Angela, on the 520 passes, does that mean like if a family got a family pass and listed 5 people on there? I guess I'm just wondering if maybe some people that didn't attend might have been somebody they had on their pass thinking, like a father, for example, that maybe wasn't able to join.
Right. So that's actually individual because you have to individually put a name to each card. So it's not like a family per pass, it's a member.
Right. But I think I'm just asking I think my question is just becoming confusing. So, so when we sell our passes, though, we sell a family pass for X amount of money, and then, and that's for up to so many people. I'm just wondering did we really have 30 people that bought passes and never showed up, or did we have 30 people that were added as, possible people on a family pass that just never came?
I think, Angela, I know what Karen is asking,
Sure.
if it's okay.
Yeah.
Karen, the sale and the scanning at the beach is 2 different acts.
Yep.
So number of sales is 1. Do you have the number of sales of how many memberships we sold? I don't think. How many memberships did we sell?
Hold on one second. Okay, so we 531.
Okay.
How many we sold.
So out of 531, that's income. But in terms of scanning, people coming in, 490 people came in uniquely. So there is probably about 41 people that never came in, and it might be the extra child or so forth. And there were the aggregate is 2,500 people that used the town beach this year. Is that what you have?
That's how many people scanned in general.
Right. Yeah.
So multiple times. That's as
Right.
many as we've had in. Yep.
And Angela, does that includes the day passes or just is day pass? Do they scan them in?
No, so that's separate. So when
That's
they
separate.
purchase the day pass, yeah, so that's separate. So in terms of the day passes, for the entire summer so far, it looks like we sold 261, but that's including the add-ons, seniors,
Sure.
everything like that. So that's including everybody.
And is that on the 2,500 total or no?
No, because that doesn't scan in. So the only
Okay.
way they can scan in is if their name's in the system for either having the membership, well, mostly just for having the membership. So they
Okay.
can either say their name or just give their pass and scan
Out
it.
of the 261 people that bought individual passes, do you know how many have used and how many have not? Or how is the day passes being sold?
So
Are
I
they
just
s-
did those to the POS system.
Oh,
So
okay. So
that's the number through the POS system
so
at the beach
so
house.
so in reality, we had about 2,700 people that came in to Town Beach.
Right.
Okay. And there might be some repetition out of those 260. I don't, it's hard to know, but we
Yeah.
could say, we had 490 people plus 261
Right.
uniquely people that came through Town Beach.
Yeah. It was kind of a lot of data to go through. They do organize it pretty well, but
hmm
there's a lot of information that you can get from their page that I probably haven't even figured out how to use it the
No,
best way I can.
this is a good first step. All right. And what else do you have?
So swim lessons went really well. So we had a lot of numbers for swim lessons. Saturdays, I know we kind of talked about maybe fixing that for next year. I was thinking about maybe us just adding another lifeguard probably on to pick up that extra, because I guess the issue they were having, they want the same lifeguard teaching this class every week. And if somebody's out 1 week, that led with an issue of making sure the beach is like watched, everybody's good there, and then there's still enough people to do lessons. So I know that was a little bit of an issue. So I want to work through that for next year.
Good. Okay. The programs, do you know your count for how many kids attended the programs?
I don't know the total amount. Let's see. Hold on one sec. Just because with the programs, the way it is set in here, it includes the swim lessons too.
Oh, okay.
So it's 93 registrations, but that includes the swim lessons.
Okay. All right. That's good. Did you have a chance to do a financial breakdown of the programs?
I did. So it's a lot. I'm not going to bore you with each number.
I love numbers. Don't say that.
So there was a few programs that we didn't fully, have enough participation in to cover it fully. So that was that multi-sports camp that was the ages 5 to 7. And then also the one we're doing this week, the Nashua River Water Association. So that one we kind of went negative in, but they had a good time. I think it went well. And we're actually planning on doing some stuff in the fall with both of those vendors. So I think that will be good. So just in general, this includes the programs, the swim lessons, and then the memberships. So the total revenue was like $25,000. And then profit wise, it was about 17,000 that we took back from that. Profit wise.
So the program, but you're not counting the cost of the Town Beach.
I didn't include
lifeguards.
any of the
Okay.
lifeguards or anything like that. No.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. That's good. As overall seems, do you know what is the feedback we have had from people that did programs, the non-swim lessons programs? Do people like it?
Yeah, I've had a lot of positivity. Program wise, I'm at the beach house when I can be. I think Liz would probably have a better feedback on lifeguard stuff like that. I haven't had any bad feedback on it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so I think that's been going great, and Liz has been awesome. So far so good. And then we had the cardboard boat race the last Saturday. So that was a lot of fun. We had somebody come do face painting and stuff like that. And 3 racers, well, 3 boats, multiple racers in each one, and then no boat sank. So take that as a win.
That's awesome. That's great. Do you have anything planned for the fall?
So I wanted to speak with the school first, just to get the situation with TCP Gymnasium kind of settled before I made any actual plans. I did mention that we'd like to keep the gym for Wednesdays, and then Wednesday afternoons at least, and just have, boys, girls club and them split it 2 days and 2 days. So school seemed okay with that. Haven't talking to Michelle yet about that. But
She's just here.
Yeah. Hi.
Coincidentally.
So that was kind of what I was looking to do. And in that case, we'll have a lot more ability to start with the programs. But I've been talking to the Snapology wants to do something again. So does the MA Sports Leagues. And then also, what was the other one? Oh yeah, we have some adult stuff coming. I met with a yoga instructor, an art instructor. So we have some of that stuff too. I just don't
perfect.
yet.
Okay. So we are in our August meeting. By September when we have our, so it doesn't sound like all your details for those programs are set.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had a location before I, made
Right.
that plan.
No, I totally understand. But will you be able to launch these programs like in the beginning of September, late September? What are your thoughts on some of these things?
Yeah, I'd say probably in the next 2 weeks. I
Okay.
can have that done. Yep.
All right. That sounds good. All right.
That's-
Anything else, Angela?
That's it from me.
All right. Let me ask the group. Karen, do you have questions, comments,
Yes.
concerns?
Angela, and Chris may be the better person to be asking of this, but our lifeguard salary line, I'm assuming on the town side, we've overexpended that. Or
I kind
close
of
to
looked at it today. I'm just in my head, it was confusing because it goes through, it says FY23, FY24. Right now, FY24, which we are only, open like a week into FY23, I think.
Yeah,
A little over a week. Right now it's like $1,200 under
so
for FY24.
we're not in the red yet.
We are.
We are in the red by
About like 1,500. And I think we're closing August 27th is the last day I believe we're open.
Okay, and that will make the difference up coming from that from the town beach swim lesson side, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they usually, so we have a operating account, if you will.
No, I sort of know the answer. I guess I
Okay.
just want to ensure that the that is where it's coming from and it's not coming from, say, pavement management. So I guess I'm just putting that in your head. And I know that seems odd, Angela, that I say that, but for years, pavement management, a lot of weird things happened with that when we were under the DPW. So I just want to
Okay.
make sure that the profit that we have brought in from the cost of swim lessons is being used to cover.
So I think it automatically, when I fill out the form and it goes through my rec and then everything through like accounting, it goes automatically into the revolving.
It does,
Yeah.
it does. Then they should automatically take it out of there. So
Right.
I just watch for that. And
Okay.
anybody says, how are you covering this? That's how we should be covering it, is through swim lesson.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Chris Sullivan, do you have any questions for Angela or comments?
No, no questions. Just good job with the programs. I have a couple
Thank
friends whose kids have smaller kids, and they did participate in some of the programs and really enjoyed it. Kids had fun. In particular, the program that we mentioned last month that I think you were coming up short with numbers, and we
Right.
adjusted. And so she actually specifically made mention of that she really appreciated that. You went ahead and did that, and the program still happened and so forth. So
Oh, good. That's huge.
great job. So good feedback and yeah, good job. Nice to see
Thank you.
successful programs this summer. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, so if it's okay, before we move on to Chris Ruth's report or talk with him, I'm going to bring Michelle because I think what she's going to bring it up, Angela and Chris Ruth, it will have you guys, we might need your help. So I have it on the agenda item. We're bouncing back here is Lunenburg Boys and Girls Club Polar Plunge Fundraiser Collaboration. So Michelle, good evening. Tell us what you're thinking.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I'm zooming from my car from the library because I just left. So I've had this idea in my head for a really long time to do a polar plunge. And Shady Point had been willing to do it with us. We had kind of kicked around bringing in some sponsors. We were thinking polar beverages and Dippin' Donuts and hosting a polar dip, right? Like, and we'd been kind of kicking it around for a while. And then COVID happened and kind of fell by the wayside. And I was thinking how much work you guys have done with the town beach and just the rec department in general. So between your reach and your resources, it felt like a good fit to approach you and say, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Would this be interesting to you? And the more I thought about it, it doesn't have to just be Boys and Girls Club, right? It could be, I'm all for that. But if it was something that you wanted to open up to other groups in town to raise funds, even the Parks Department, right? Open it up, make it a competition. If the Boys and Girls Club raises the most money, Michelle will jump in the water. I don't know. It's something that we've talked about for many years and haven't quite found that niche to make it happen. And I just thought I'd run it by you guys and see, are you interested? Is it something you would want to pursue? And do you have ideas on how to make it interesting, fun, successful, all of that?
All right. Chris Sullivan, pardon, Chris Sullivan, do you want to be the first one to speak since she's your guest?
Sure. Hi, Michelle.
Okay.
And forgive my camera for not being on my work computer. For some reason, it needs an external camera, which I left at the office. So
It's okay.
my camera's not on. Yeah, no, I 100%. So, I love the club and my kids love the club. And so I would fully support, opening up the beach. It sounded like you had started to make some connections maybe with fire and police and so forth as well and things like that. So, I think as long as we have all our safety ducks in a row and so forth, I would 100%, support that. As far as opening it up to other groups and so forth, I wouldn't be opposed if the numbers allowed, in terms of capacity and what's responsible with working with, fire and police and so forth.
Right.
If there were other groups that wanted to do a, polar plunge fundraiser, I'm thinking, sports teams or, what have you kind of scenario, that would be, I wouldn't be opposed either. I think it's a great deal, good opportunity to raise some money for programs that could use it. So I would be 100% behind it. And whatever you need to kind of help, let me know.
Thanks.
Awesome. Karen?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It would be nice if we could get some other groups involved, including ourselves, because it might be a good fundraiser type thing for us for the beach house where we would like to get that spruced up a bit more. I don't know the logistics of any of this and the safety pieces of it. So, yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. And I think even if it ends up being just the Boys and Girls Club, I think that it's still, I don't know, I think those create the memories that we're looking for to be a community. People always fall back to the bonfire and they talk about that for years to come. I can imagine that if we could get something like this off the ground, or Miles for Miles, they still talk about that, still going on years later. This could be something similar, a tradition to start with families.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I love the idea. My first thought when I love that you're inviting a lot of, your idea to grow. But I have to say, my first thought when you're doing a new program, though you're very well versed on doing things, maybe we want to start small and see how it would work, and then maybe then open up to other groups. I just don't know, just so that there's not a lot of conflict goals, with what we are trying to do. One thing, and I'm thinking of the financial piece on the back, how can we do, because, any money that comes through the town, it needs to leave the town and then it has to be budget related. One way to do it where we are partnering it could be that we're opening up the town beach that day, and maybe Angela can, with whatever you need, and maybe Angela can even reach out to our current lifeguards and see if anyone can cover a weekend, if that's the goal. And then you kind of would take on running wherever the fundraiser is. So for example, I know the Harvard 4th of July parade and festivities, they have a town organization that runs the Harvard July 4th, but the high school runs the bike decorating contest. Someone else runs the parade, and that way the committee just organizes the logistics, and the fundraisings that are happening are not necessarily come through town meeting or through the town finances. So I think structurally speaking, I think that would be the way to do. I don't know what would be you would be selling, but I think that would be the way that we could collaborate.
Right.
And that's where Angela, come into play. What can we do together? Angela, do you have any thoughts on something like on this? And do you have questions for Michelle?
This is a great idea. So I do love it. I'll help however I can. And,
Awesome.
if I get a date and everything like that, I can see lifeguards who may be available for it. So I think this is a good idea, and, I can help advertise and hand out hot cocoa or something. So
Right.
yeah, I think this is great.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Karen, do you think we need a vote for support?
Yeah, we certainly can, and I'm happy
Okay.
to make a motion. So I'll make a motion to support the boys and girls efforts to work with parks, or however you want to phrase it, on a polar plunge.
Okay.
Awesome.
Can
I'll
I have a
second
second?
that.
All right.
Second that.
Thank you. So Chris Sullivan second, and let's see, Karen Menard, roll call.
Aye.
All right, Chris Sullivan.
Aye.
And I for myself. All right, so we'll take it that you work with Angela on creating a plan.
That sounds
Yeah, and whatever you need for help, just let us know.
okay.
All
This
right,
is
thank you,
awesome.
Michelle.
Phenomenal work. Like, I'm so excited to see all the work that you're doing happening in town and growing and people getting excited. So keep it up.
Thank
Awesome,
you,
you
Michelle.
too.
You
Michelle,
too.
before
You
you
too.
go,
Awesome.
Well
All
done.
right.
Michelle,
Question.
before you
Yeah.
go, I have one quick question for you. Do you have a date range in mind?
I'm not thinking like, dead of February. Like, honestly, I'm thinking like, I don't know, April Fool's Day kind of thing, or Thanksgiving kind of thing, where it's cold but not frigid. I'm open to whatever if you have suggestions or input, I'm open to that too.
I would talk with Chief Sullivan if you
Okay.
haven't already done so, more because they do a lot of trainings out on the lake. So he has a
Ooh.
good idea. Yeah, he has a really good idea of like when things are frozen, when it's not, and he may be able to offer some guidance on when he thinks the best. Because the other thing that's going to happen is, and I can't imagine he's going to make this optional, is he's going to have to staff the
Yes.
he's going to have to staff an ambulance there for the
Yeah.
full duration of the event. So seeing what his availability is and his timing too may help. So it may even be worthy to start with some of these conversations with them and sort of getting a feel of what they think. And they've been super helpful in everything that Parks has approached them about. So hopefully you have the same luck.
I'll do that.
Michelle, if you could just give me as much notice on the date as you can, only because we winterize the building.
Okay.
So I'd like to be able to have bathrooms available for people and all that. And
makes-
it's not a big deal to turn it back on for a day. It's just,
Okay.
just want to be able to coordinate it all.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for doing all you do, and thank you for stopping by.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Michelle, too.
Michelle.
Bye-bye.
All right, now going back to our agenda, let's do the second half of the Facilities Direct update. Chris Ruth, you have the floor.
All right. I don't have a whole lot of updates. I don't know if we discussed it last time, but we finally got the sand on the beach.
We have not discussed that.
And we are working with Lakeview, who did the work for us, to put together a regular maintenance plan out there where spring and fall, when the water levels are typically lower, we're going to bring his machines in and rake the beach and pull as much sand as we can back out of the water. And hopefully in doing that and giving the plan to conservation, they'll be less apt to give us any issues when we need to add sand. And the curbing from when they repaved the road has been repaired and added as well, and it appears to be stopping the water now. So I think we've solved a good chunk of the erosion issues, and now that we'll have a maintenance plan, hopefully we won't have the issues anymore.
Awesome. All right. Karen Menard, do you have any questions, comments for Chris, Ruth?
Yeah, Chris, I meant to call you. I apologize that I didn't. So a couple weeks ago, I saw a Facebook thread that actually appeared to be somebody posted like a month or so ago, and then posted again, and it just got a little bit bigger, and it was about when the Parks was going to clean up the left side of the building. And then there was a complaint about benches. Well, in reading the post, it read like the complaint about the benches was at the town beach. I found out after the fact, after I went down there and checked everything out myself, that the comments on the benches were actually related to the waterfront over on the other side, down by the Ember side of things, which sort of made me feel better. But so I guess I'm just throwing it out there to you that we have had a couple of people complaining on Facebook about the left side of the town beach, which doesn't necessarily make all that much sense to me, because we cleaned that area up in the past. We put picnic tables there, we put out umbrellas, and nobody ever used it. So I guess I'm not sure what people are trying to get at. Like, what are they looking to use it for? I did respond to her that there was an issue with some Japanese knotweed in that area. And I wasn't sure if that was a holdup. And then on the benches side, I did reply back and I said, I see what you're talking about. And that's when she said, no, I was actually referring to the waterfront side. But if the Boy Scouts approach anybody looking for any projects that need to be done, those benches at Town Beach could use a sanding and a repainting, because people are sitting on the benches and using them, which is good. But they're sitting on towels because of the peeling paint underneath. So maybe just something to put on. I know Boy Scouts usually like that sort of project.
I'm happy to email the troop again. I'll email the troop. I know a couple of the kids, so I can send the email over to the scout leader and stuff.
Cool.
Awesome.
And as far as that side of the beach, to be honest, it's just been a fairly low priority with everything else, where we didn't have much of a plan.
Yeah.
I would love to do something with it. I'm just not sure what the right answer is at the time. So I don't want to waste money until we kind of have a plan.
I'm right there.
We have to get rid of the knotweed anyway, because it'll just spread.
Yeah.
But that being said, if anyone's got some ideas for over there, I'm all ears. I'd love to get something done.
I feel like that, and we can obviously discuss this further down the line, but I feel like I feel like that's piece of the beach area is probably, unless we have access to it from the beach house, which we don't, I find it a very difficult area to be used for anything more than picnic tables. But again, we've tried the picnic tables thing and I don't want to say it didn't work, but from what I've been told, nobody ever used it. So I don't know what the best answer is. It's, but I wanted you to be aware that I had seen these, I had gone down and looked, and I had responded, especially where I had responded publicly on that thread.
Do we know who owns the benches on the waterfront? Is that
The select board.
Oh, okay.
So you, Chris.
Yep.
I guess so.
Yep. So that whole that waterfront side, all along the fenced area, that is all under the care and control of the select board. And the complaint was the benches couldn't be sat on because they were in such poor state, and that one of them had been removed and not replaced. So that waterfront area is town under care and control of select board.
Okay, you, Chris. Not with our budget, but with your budget. In short.
I wasn't aware I had much of a budget.
All right. Chris Sullivan, do you have any questions? Comments?
No, I had an observation here just in the last week with all the rain we had, and I'm looking at the corner of the town pound that is right along the pond. and the water is up pretty high. So my concern is that back corner that abuts the pond is the earth under that corner is probably fairly soft, and the water's been really, really close to that. So just a concern of something to keep an eye on if, it's already kind of leaning towards the pond a little bit there. But if the rain continues, I imagine that corner is going to be pretty soft. I just would hate to lose it into the, I don't know what the solution is. It's right, there's nowhere to move it, but just an observation, I guess.
I'll take a look at it. I know DPW was out there either last week or the week before clearing the culvert again, but I'll take a look and see if it's clogged up, and maybe that might be part of the reason.
Yeah, I think it's more just the rain we've had. I don't think it just, the waters has been a little bit higher than, usual anyway, I guess. And that just, if the earth underneath that stays pretty, gets really soft, I would be concerned that stone wall would, I guess it's been there for a long time, so maybe not.
No, it's still worth looking at.
We have some new neighbors over there, I think, because I think the house next to that sold.
Yeah, it's the football coach. Yeah.
Has there been any, have they done any work in their yard that might have redirected, not on purpose, but accidentally redirected water down there?
I haven't seen him doing anything. I
haven't been down there, so.
They did have a new septic. They removed the septic out. So if anything, that would improve
before the house sold, they put it on sewer, I think.
And that was within the past year. And then that was the only major work that they did on the yard. But that is a tree growing. It's that space is so tight. That is when you go inside the town pound, you can see there is a new evergreen tree growing just outside the one of the ends that's technically on there. It's hard to know which inch of the yard the tree is growing, and I think it'd be wise to maybe remove that tree before it gets larger, because new trees will, with the root system, it could damage that stone wall. But yeah, Chris, if you stop there, take a look. Maybe we can cut that baby tree. So
yeah, I'll take a look, and even if it is on the property line where the homeowner happens to be a town employee, I'm sure I can have a chat with him and see if he'd be okay with cutting that one down.
Yeah, okay.
Picnic table looks nice, by the way. Picnic table with the front looks nice. Yep.
That's where they had the Nashville River Watershed Association camp.
I saw them using that.
It was very fun. I caught so many bugs today.
Or whatnot.
You did?
Cool.
I did.
How many? What was the answer? How many bugs off that chart?
They found at least 5.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really fun, actually. I didn't think I'd like it, but.
Who were the teachers today, Angela?
Gaynor was there, and then she had a helper as well.
Wow.
She's very knowledgeable. It was fantastic.
I don't think she's as knowledgeable. She just has that British accent that makes everything she says sounds fun, sounds intelligent, but it's really just the accent. In my personal humble opinion, that's her friend. But no, that's great. I agree with you. I have a couple quests. So the first one, Chris, have you thought about, and I think we talked about this, but I don't recall where we landed, at the town beach, because it's slanted, the topographic of the beach, right? It's not flat. Putting, those erosion prevention at the bottom to try to hold some of the sand, like something like that to help prevent the sand from running into the lake during off season.
So I took a look at that, Anna, and I think we're better off trying to, if you go out there now, you look at where the curb stops, there's that gap between the fence.
Yeah.
I think that's where our issue's coming from. Any rainfall that lands directly on the beach isn't going to flow. It's been the sheet flows off the road.
Okay.
And my other concern with that area is it's twofold. Is when we were there looking at our plan for putting the sand down, I watched a small child climb under the fence and into the road. And luckily there was a mother there that grabbed the kid's leg and pulled him back in. But it's
Yeah,
I'm concerned that if, some parents not paying attention, I would hate for a kid to, pop out from between cars because they can get under the fence.
right.
So we're looking at what our options are to fill that gap, to prevent that and to slow down any water that might get over it. So we've
Okay.
been toying with different ideas, whether we pour some concrete or some larger stones in there, or what our best option is.
Okay, that's good. The other thing, and this is, I'm not sure if might be a Angela and Chris together. It would be really nice if we can do a movie night at Marshall this fall. Because we can probably rent a big projector and and plan for like a evening, and of course we should play Sandlot 1. But if that would be a really fun event to have, and Angela, you might be able to tap it into even the money that you have for programming. And that could also be an event that, for example, we can allow the Boy Scouts to sell hot cocoa there and someone else to sell popcorn as fundraisers for these groups. And I'm just thinking, the park is there, and so anyway, is that something, do you guys think it's worth looking into it?
I think it's a great idea. I know that Mashpee Commons on the Cape started that this year, and it has a huge turnout.
They do it in the fall or in the summer?
They do it in the summer, but that's when their attendance is. So the only thing I can say on it, and I'm sure Angela can figure it out, is that you can't just go get a movie and play it. You actually have to have the rights in order to play it. So
Right.
That's
but I'm
good
sure
to know.
she can figure that out.
You can get like a entertainment license for a day only.
Okay.
We can
Football
walk,
seasons. I might go remember the Titans though.
but it's a baseball field.
So people, I haven't seen either one of them, so either one would be fine with me. So
Double feature.
maybe
Double feature. there
Double
it is.
feature. That's where I was going, Chris Sullivan. Woo! But Angela, if you could look into that, the reason I thought of the fall is because for anything to be so that it could be dark early enough that younger kids would enjoy and will be there, and we might be able. I don't know, Chris Roof, does the town, aka DPW, have any spotlights like they usually see in construction?
I think they have one or two, but if we'd be renting a screen and a projector from a rental company anyway, if we needed an extra one of those, I'm sure we could. They're easy enough to rent.
Okay.
I know a couple of places I can call around to try and get some pricing and see what we'd be looking at for
The,
cost to do it. And
the Bengals, you probably don't, none of you probably remember this because it was back when I was probably the only one here. When the Bengals used Fitzgerald Field, they had some sort of lighting, portable lighting. I don't know if they rented it or if they own it, but I'm sure we could have a conversation with them as well. It's a good idea.
All right. Angela, is this something that you want to take on, or?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. I think it's a good idea. It's not something I thought about yet. So my only thing is like with Boy Scouts and all that is Board of Health stuff. So that's just, I want to make sure that's all squared away, obviously, but I'm definitely interested in, heading this. That sounds great.
We tend to have events like, when we had, for example, Memorial Day celebration at the Veterans Park, there was hot chocolate there, and donuts being given out. Like some of these things are not, and I know maybe selling, but what we can say simply to them is to say, you can have the space to do this. You just need to square away with the Board of Health yourselves.
Right. Absolutely.
And that way you don't have to do the legwork, and if they're interested.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But we see enough hot chocolates being given out everywhere that I don't think that's a concern. Now, the other one that I was thinking is, do we have anywhere that we can do a bonfire? Everybody wants a bonfire. No?
I feel like if we had one, we would have I don't think Parks has anything that we could use. I
I
don't,
think of recreation, just like, it's not a park per
no,
se.
no, so I don't think Parks has anything we can use. I feel like, I know we sort of investigated it a few years back, and then the only other place would be the fields, the front fields at the school, and I'm not sure they'd be willing to.
Right. Well, I mean, I know we have had the bonfire to be on grass, but does it have to be on grass?
Where else would you want to put it?
Well, it can be like a big block party where you close off a street.
Yeah, but where would you put the bonfire? Can't put it on asphalt or
Why?
pavement.
I don't know why.
Because
Like,
it'll, Chris, I'm assuming you'd be able to back me on that to say.
does it melt? Just tell me if it melts.
The temperature of the fire that alone would be,
Okay.
Yeah, we couldn't do it on asphalt. It would have to be grass or dirt. I mean, concrete's okay if you don't want to have it look nice after.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I don't know. All right. We keep dreaming. I almost feel like we want to go back to the drawing board for Marshall and ask for a bonfire spot.
That might
Well-
gain momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, depends on when is the skate park going to start cutting trees over there? Because that would be a spot
Oh.
you could get away with having a fire once the trees were down and not worry about ruining anything, or we wait till we get funding for Marshall and we do a big fire out in the middle of the field before we break ground and rip it all up anyway.
Those are good ideas.
One off. I like that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, just like kind of like instead of breaking ground celebration, we do a bonfire celebration for breaking ground. It would be a lot more fun than watching having a picture of the select board with a fake shovel like they did for the TV, like for the school, like they were actually digging a hole. We just do a big bonfire. Okay, no, I like that. All right, we'll leave that in the back. Angela, do you know if baseball is doing anything for the summer, and or if they will be doing anything for the fall?
I don't, the summer, not that I know of, and I have to check in with them for the fall too.
Okay. All right. Sounds
I'll
good.
do that.
All right, those are all my questions. So the next item on the agenda, Chris and Angela, if you guys could stay, is the beach house work. I was going to, so, I did put a call for people to volunteer. We didn't get much, and I haven't had the time to invest on trying to get people in. I'm sure, I mean, sometimes marketing, soliciting people, you can see with Michelle Beleza, it's not necessarily easy. But Chris, you had told me that the materials to do the walls and the floors would probably be about $6,000 or $5,000.
I don't have it in front of me. I would
But it
have
was-
to
but-
dig that out. I remember
but
we
it-
were looking at all the plywood for the floors, to go over the existing, the new LVT flooring, and then some trim and some paint. So
Right.
I think if we have volunteer work, I think 6,000 is probably a safe number, but I don't have
Okay.
any of it in my head or in front of me right now.
Because my question is, now that we finished the, I do think, I mean, the work that they've done this year, it has improved the beach house tremendously. And it's too bad we couldn't get it done for this. I mean, everything was finishing as you're starting, Chris. I think you actually did other work, but I think if you think we can tap into some of the money that we just made, plus we have some, but maybe I do think we can easily get volunteers to help. I think financial help is the part that it's harder. So my question for you is, do you think the town has with the budget to tap it in and bring the beach house home, finish up everything, and I can then coordinate volunteers to do the work?
I think if we have volunteers doing the work,
Mm.
I think I can make it work money-wise at that point, because
Okay,
the biggest cost is when we're hiring someone and we're paying prevailing wage.
right.
If in some of the work we need skilled people for, but ripping out the old carpet and and throwing that stuff in bags and that type of stuff would be perfect for volunteers, and it'll save us money. And
Okay.
the rest of it is it's not that complicated to work. I mean, I don't know how much I'll have available for, at the moment I still only have Dawn as help on the facility side. So
Right. No,
but
I
we got some time. We got some time to do it now, so
right.
we're not quite under the gun.
Okay. No, okay. So I appreciate that. So I get a look at my calendar. I know I'm going, I mean, the end of the summer, also summer too, people are busy, but I'm thinking we might be able to get something going for doing it during the fall. So maybe don't winterize the beach house yet until and maybe we can get this done before we winterize it, and it'll be fun. But I definitely got a lot of people that personally reached out and said, I can help get these things done. I can definitely help with this. I can definitely help with that. And if we have the 6,000 now that we made, 17,000, that's really good. And we should put that money towards this type of thing, right? Because a lot of this money came from the town beach.
Yep.
So,
And
all right.
even if we wanted to break it up into different days of, do a weekend where everyone comes in and does all the demolition, and then we'll get the materials there and see what we need and put another call out for more help.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll do a little planning around this, and then I'll circle back with you.
Okay. And we don't have to winterize until there's no heat in the building. So as soon as we get anywhere near first frost, I have to have the water shut off and drained.
Okay.
So just to kind of keep that in mind, and we can turn it back on if we need to, but it has to be drained again at the end of the day. So
Okay. And that usually happens in, late September, October, the earliest, right?
yeah, I mean, it's certainly not going to get closed before, end of October, I would guess. It's somewhere around there whenever we get to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
And if that's okay, does anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns for Chris, Ruth, and Angela?
Nope.
No. Thank you so much for coming to our meeting, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.
And you as well.
Have a
Bye.
good night.
All right, just the three of us. All right. Update from meeting with Green Community Committee regarding Marshall Park renovations. Karen attended their meeting and she talked with them. So
Yep, I did. So the general gist of it was that they work primarily with getting funds for things that were upgradings that are already there. So if we had lighting already in place at Marshall, they would help us find the best way to do it to upgrade that lighting. We don't have any of that. So we're basically starting from scratch at Marshall with some of the stuff that we're putting in. So they don't think they can help us with any of that. They did say keep them in mind if we have things that we want to upgrade. One of the things I had sort of thrown out to them, trying to get an understanding that I was understanding them correctly, was, we have an older we had an older refrigerator at the town beach, and I said, if that's something that we were looking to upgrade, and they said, absolutely, that's the type of thing that they do versus, sort of like the ground up project that we have going on. So it was a good discussion with them. I think we should, keep conversations open with them to see, maybe something changes. They did recommend, talking to our state reps for help, and they have a lot of contacts that we could talk to as well, because you can get rebates and stuff from Unitil. And some of the examples that Dave Black gave, who is the chair, was that, the schools started working on a project for lighting and didn't talk to them first. So by the time Green Communities was aware of it, and then they were able to get in touch with their Unitil person, they had put in one type of light, but if they had put in another type of light, they might have been able to get a like reimbursed for some of the cost of that. So there is stuff out there that I think we may be able to take advantage of, like using this instead of that type thing, but not a straight out grant type.
okay, that's good to keep in mind as we go on to the next phase. All right. Thank you, Karen, for going to their meeting and getting that information for us. Naming policy, review, draft, discussion, and possible vote. Karen, do you want to lead that?
No, but I will.
You're the best.
I gotta just make sure I have stuff closed down here. Bear with me. So I'm not reading it again. My reading.
Right, we already read.
So let me just share my screen. Okay, so if I remember correctly, and Chris, please tell me if I am not remembering correctly. We didn't have too many changes. I actually don't remember if I've gone back and changed anything. So if somebody remembers something that was supposed to be changed, please let me know. Colleen did provide some feedback earlier, and I do want to get that feedback. Hold on, let's see. Where is it? There we go. Did that pull up too? Did all my text?
No,
messages-
we're still
Mhm.
just looking at the naming policy.
Perfect.
My naming policy cut in half, though I can only read half.
Okay, I'll make it bigger in a second, Chris. Colleen said, in the section about determining location of a memorial item, such as a bench, tree, etc., it might be good to specify that the commission will consider maintenance needs when determining an appropriate location. I know it clearly states the park department is responsible for maintenance, so I think it should be stated that maintenance will be a factor when considering location. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let me see if I can, what I can do to make you be able to see it better. Is that better, Chris?
Yeah, yep.
That's, I think it's 2 pages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is page 1. Where is that section? Can I scroll? Or are you guys reading this?
No, you can scroll.
You can
Oh.
scroll.
Are you sure, Chris?
Yeah.
So somewhere in the section memorial dedication policy. Okay, so then-
Is it number 4?
So add in there, add in here on number 4. How did Colleen have it worded in there?
The park commission will take into account location, take into account maintenance with respect to location.
I don't even know what I'm writing anymore.
Might need glasses like me.
No, that's not what I wanted to put. Park will determine the most appropriate location for donated items based on factors such as type of item, location.
You have a text box open there too. Are you trying to do a text box?
Yeah, I'm trying to do a text box.
Okay.
I'm trying to type in there so that I can like screenshot it so I don't have to type it somewhere else after the fact. But maybe I should not do that because clearly I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So just on number 4, maybe we could just say, we'll determine the most appropriate location for a donated item based on factors such as maintenance. Should we just add the word maintenance in that line?
Yep.
Yeah, the commission will determine the most appropriate location for a donated item based on factors, yeah, such as type of item, location, donor's choice, and availability of
Maintenance.
space. Yeah, maintenance. Yeah, I think
Maintenance.
it's as simple as that.
Space, yeah, I think that's the same as well. So I am gonna go and put my text box back in there, Chris, so that I can actually. Maintenance needs or just maintenance?
Just maintenance before.
Ongoing, maybe ongoing maintenance.
And I would put that right. I don't know why it's not, I don't know how to use this annotate very well. I will put that, in between. right
Add an
after-
end to, add an end to maintenance.
You want me to spell it correctly?
Well, you know,
That's good. It looks right to me. Um,
Okay. And I'm gonna put it right in here. See my little line? And then I'm gonna screenshot this thing so that I have it. Okay. I wrote it, so everything looks perfect to me.
do you have any other feedback or that was it?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, that's good.
Everything else looks good.
All right, Chris, do you have any other feedback or we're
you can go
good?
back to the first page for, I think we didn't have much when we did it before.
No, we didn't.
So I feel,
we-
and I feel like you maybe typed on it while we were doing
Yeah,
it the
I
first.
do feel like she
Donna?
did that too.
You
Yeah.
see what it did? So, no, you know what it does? It doesn't move it. So when you scroll back and forth between the page, so now that I screenshot it, I'm thinking I can probably delete this. Let's see. Nope, that would be a hard no. I don't know how to remove it now.
No,
You
that's
have to click
okay.
on you have to click on the text box itself,
There
the
we
front
go.
of the box.
And I just,
No, different click.
oh, we'll just move it to the side.
Yeah.
And just ignore that other line that's there, Chris. You're gonna need to just, you're gonna need to get over it, Mr. Sullivan.
I'm fine. I just want a maintenance spelled right.
I spelled it right,
That's-
You did.
second time.
No, so if Chris, if you don't have any other feedback, because I don't,
I'm
d-
good.
I
I
don't-
think I'm
I
good.
think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we maybe get a motion to approve the policy?
I will make a motion to approve the naming policy for the parks
I'll
And I
take
will
it.
as written.
I'll
All
second.
right, roll call. Karen Menard,
Aye.
Chris Sullivan,
Aye.
and I for myself. So this policy is official and should be in place starting immediately.
We have it done. Now where are we putting it?
We can I can ask, well, this here should actually be, so my thoughts are the following. Things that are for use should be on my rack. So like the rent policy should be there, but items that are more of government should be on our page. So the town does have someone who now updates the website, and we can email her the policy and ask her to upload to the parks page.
You don't want to just keep it all on one page?
I mean, we can put it, but this is like,
It doesn't matter
It's-
to me. I just don't want people thinking they have to go 2 different places to look. for
well,
it.
we can have it in 2 places. It's I
Should
just
everything be on maybe everything, all our policies go on the park page? And then
park page or my rack. See, I think my
everything on the
rack is
park
a
page, because if
use. Yeah,
someone's going to look up like all of our policies will be in one spot there, and then user
interface with
user
policies.
interface with my rec kind of
Yeah,
deal.
that's
Maybe
been
that
my
would-
thought.
I
Yeah,
do. So
okay.
put everything is in one spot, and then anything pertinent to use is in a second spot as well. Kind of
Oh,
deal.
my rack. Okay. I think that, and that's more or less where I didn't want to overcrowd my rack for things that are not related to use, right? And so that's like, let's say if we have a policy about how our meetings are conducted, like the select board does, that has no relevance on my rack, that type of thing. Okay, I like that, but
I like my rec part of it, and I'll be transparent and honest with this, is that I like it because we're controlling that. It's something that's on our side of things, that we're getting the information out there. We know that it's there. We know that it's one place for people to find something versus having to go to multiple pages. Because I wish people would just go to, like, we keep saying that it's MyRec, which it is, it's hosted on MyRec, but we actually own the domain name Lunenburg Recreation. So like when I hear people say at, select board meetings, oh, you can register at lunenburg.myrec, I'm like, just go to Lunenburg Recreation, because if we can get them to do that and we ever leave MyRec, we're going to use that domain name wherever it goes. So I just feel like we have better control of that kind of thing and keeping everything in one place, like a one-stop shop situation. Because there's other communities that have rec parks and recreation departments that they actually put all their minutes are on. I'm not saying we need to do that because the town handles it, but like they use it for everything for their parks department and not just, or their parks commission and not just.
Right. Well, I don't think that's necessarily user friendly. This one is it can be on both. I don't particularly feel strong about this one. It does have a usability, but there are certain things they're not. Like, I don't think minutes, like fill it up the MyRec, and then when someone goes to try to find something relevant to use, we have half of the site filled up with minutes and agendas. So, but yeah, this one can go on both. But do you want to email the person who does the town website?
I don't know who it is, but I will figure it out.
Okay. All right. I forgot her name, but I'll be happy if you want to help. Just let me know. All right. Chair updates. So I have exchanged some messages. Well, I guess the first chair update is we did have a visit at Marshall from someone from the state about the grant. He was very complimentary of the project that we have. It was interesting because the first question out of his mouth was, how are you going to fund this? And it's wonderful that we actually have a plan for funding. And I was able to give him that information. And I sent him the information that we had to show it's legit. AKA, we've been talking with our manager. And I have exchanged emails with someone else. And I think, I don't know if there are many other communities that are using ARPA funds. And I think that is I don't think she realizes that the ARPA funds do not need town meeting approval. And I was going to talk with Heather, but Heather's on vacation this week, and just ask Heather to show me where it is from the federal government that says the select board is the one that makes that decision, and then ask for a legal opinion that I can then submit to her. But yeah, the visit was just fantastic. The gentleman was there for a long time, and he said it's a complete project. It's it's well envisioned, and one that addresses many concerns. Multi-age, multi-generational, universal. And he said that their new open space plan for the state, because he's part of that plan, is going to now have an emphasis on accessible walking trails, and we are hitting the ball out of the park with that one. So yeah, and I also told him that I only see two changes that could have an impact on the initial estimate that we received, which is the initial trail that we had going through the woodland was to be on dirt. Now we have platforms, and that will cost us more money. And the other increase will be that we're going to need more fill for the parking lot at Chestnut, and we're going to need more. We thought about leveling the 90-foot diamond a little bit, but we're probably going to need more dirt than initially because we don't have a lot of dirt on the 90-foot diamond. But everything else, like our conceptual design and where we landed with the final design, they're very much together, and that makes it that the original estimate is on target. So he was happy about that as well. It was interesting because I thought it was a site visit, and it turned out that he really drilled in quite a bit on the financial piece, which was good that we had discussed. And I'll just say it now. I assume that Pat has communicated with everyone, but Pat Hackey resigned from the Parks Commission. he said that unfortunately he doesn't have the time to dedicate to the commission that we needed. Pat served with us for a little over a year, and I appreciate his help. The little help, the help that he didn't think he gave us, I did think that he did, and it was great. It was great to have him in the commission. So thank you, Pat Hackey, for your service. So that's all I have. And next item on the agenda, approval of minutes. I don't think we received any minutes, right, Karen?
I have not, I did email her, our minutes taker after, I think it was our last meeting, to say I didn't see minutes from I think it was our second June meeting come through. I haven't seen anything, and I haven't seen July minutes come through either, so I'll try to this week.
All right, and moving on, upcoming meeting dates. So the third Wednesday will be September 20th. How is everyone's calendar looking at that date?
I'm looking. September 20th. That's not my right calendar. Hold on.
I look fine.
You look fine?
I purposely don't schedule soccer practice on Wednesday nights, so I'll be coaching soccer again, but I purposely never select Wednesday just to.
Nice. Thank you,
Why not?
Chris.
I look all right on that day.
All right, so let's say our next meeting will be September 20th. I'm gonna add Parks meeting to my calendar.
Stay on Zoom for that one.
Yeah, unless we wanted to do in person.
I don't care. I just want to make sure I'm requesting a link.
Yeah.
It's easy to do.
You know, I keep wanting to do an in-person meeting, but it's hard to coordinate them. And then we come to these meetings, and I do feel like it's nice that we can do it from our homes and have a full day of work, and
That's fine.
but if anybody wants a in-person meeting, please voice it and we can plan one.
Anna, can you give me a brief, like 2-second overview of what our next steps are for Marshall?
Yes. So our next step now is going to be to plan for the next phase of engineering, which we do have the money for. We do have a list of those items, so we likely will draft an IFB or IFQ, whatever it will be for that. I think it might be more the IFQ because we can decide anything we want. It's not like, but anyway, whatever. So I need to work with Chris, Heather, and Julie to put that together. At that point, I think the next big grant is going to be the Land and Water Conservation Trust Fund, and that one is in January. And I think, Karen, the other grants that we're gonna go for, it should be done after, aside from the Water and Land Fund, we should wait for the next engineering phase to be done so that we can be more specific cost. So for example, now if you go for the dog park, we have a very high level cost of that project, and they do fund most of the project if we hit all the marks, which I think you did a great job. You said we need water for it, right? But if we don't have a good cost for that, we're not going to ask for the right amount of money. Same thing for the ADA, if we're doing for the playground or for the walks, like if we don't have the exact money, it's not going to be easy. This cost for what we asked were for 2 big items, and we had the matching funds right away. And so it kind of passes that threshold, but other grants, I think we need to be more specific. So the next piece is going to be to get the next engineering phase done. And I'll get working with Chris on that.
Do you know if the Land and Water application's open?
I think it opens more like mid-fall. I I can look up my
I'm assuming that a lot of what we have already done, especially on the park grant, can also be used on the land and water application.
with the write-up, the technical write-up will be a little different because on this write-up, the focus was recreation. On the next write-up, the focus will be how we're improving the land, and it's going to be a different technical write-up. But so the work that you did is likely going to be similar, but the work that we hired out the engineers to do, it will be something we need to hire to.
Okay, so
It-
I guess I'm just putting it out there that even we planned ahead, or we sort of thought we had planned ahead on the park stuff. I think it snuck up faster than we ever expected. I would like to see us get these conversations going with whoever we need to use as a consultant for the land and water write up stuff. And I would actually propose that as soon as this grant gets opened, that we hit the pavement running. And even if that means getting everything into them a week later, it doesn't matter. I don't want to, with the holiday season coming up in December, January, I'm away for part of that month already. I know that I'm away. It would be nice if we could just get an earlier start on it than we did on the park grant.
Okay. All right.
Not
you
that I
have-
was talking to you every single day, but like talking to you 10 times a day.
Yeah, I was gonna say talking to me once a day was easy. That's easy. It was more like 10 times a day.
Last trip, I kid you not, it was like morning, noon, and night. And where like I'd wake up in the morning and she was the first person I spoke to for like days in a row. So
So you
It was-
thought
I
you'd say
started
you
my day
you fell asleep and she was still on the phone when you fell asleep and was still
It-
there in the morning.
yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of work. Like, I don't want to toot anybody's horn, to say how.
No, you deserve credit.
Well, no, I think we all do, but the amount of work that goes into these grants, and I think that residents of town who don't understand the process of it think that filling out a grant is something that's easy. It is. It was a massive undertaking. There's a huge learning curve. We had people come in. We hired Wola to help us with pieces of it because we needed that help. And then even just organizing it and making sure we had copies of everything and everything was submitted correctly. And then as you found out, Anna, then they, push back on something else that we didn't include something, even though it said that was optional. They're like, where is it? So we, even after the submission date, we were still doing work on it. And I think in that week alone, we probably put in at least 40 hours of
Right.
work to get this stuff done. And some of us have day jobs, some bigger day jobs than others, but
No, you did fantastic. We couldn't have done it without you. So so give me I'll start doing all these things September. Things I right now there's just I'm
That's fine.
going on away for a few days, but let's plan that come September we're working on these things, and I'll give the heads up to Chris and Heather about the requirements for the next one.
Okay.
So okay.
Thank you.
All right. Other business matters that may legally come before the board, not knowing the time of posting. I don't have anything, and correspondence, announcements, and public and board comment. We don't have any public in. Do we have any board comment?
I have none.
Okay, Chris Sullivan.
I do not.
Okay.
Oh, actually one quick, the picnic table that's out there, wonder if we want to stain that, some sort of protection on it or from the weather.
Yeah, we can do that.
I meant to ask
Chris
Chris
can
that
do
actually.
that.
Yeah, I meant to
Chris
ask.
Root can do that. We can.
Or I can attach it with the Boy Scout email actually. Maybe the Boy
Okay.
Scouts will stain it.
Yeah, that would be
if
great.
if they need a project.
Yeah,
If they need a project,
but-
but maybe they need a project.
yeah. I was carrying that table there. It's very light. I'm not sure it's a table that's meant to survive many seasons. But it was there today. And,
Stan will help.
yeah, will help, definitely. But it was there today, and I
And is the
heard
plan to
from,
remove it like out of season?
yeah,
Maybe, hopefully?
I
Like they could
was,
hopefully protect it in the
or
winter.
maybe just move it inside of the pound and put a tarp over. Would that be enough
It's true, too.
protection?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why not. If it's tarped
Yeah.
appropriately, that's
Yeah,
fine too.
just put a bungee cords around, and then you don't have as much.
Yeah.
You know.
Whatever
Yeah.
whatever they want to do to
Yeah.
move it.
Yeah. If you want to send Chris Ruth an email and ask him, hey, the table looks nice. Can we do something? Just so it's on his radar.
Yeah, I
Okay.
will want to kind of store it somewhere for the
Winter, yeah.
winter.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to just send him a quick.
Although it's a nice, well, no, because we have the benches for the pond, like those exist somewhere down
Oh,
at DPW. The benches exist.
Yes, the benches for the ice. Yes.
Blue benches exist somewhere. They're down at the DPW. So
Yeah, which is kind of cool. All right.
we just
All
never
right.
froze enough last year to
I
put 'em
know
out.
it was so bad. It was,
Yeah.
I think we had one day that was frozen and I was out there. The dog
Yeah, not
loves being out there. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll let you as a vice chair to drop Chris an oath. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. All right. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Making a motion to adjourn at 8:16 PM.
All right. Second?
I'll say.
All right. Karen Menard,
Aye for me.
Chris Sullivan,
Aye.
and I for myself. Good night, everyone, and thank you so much.
Good night. Thank you.